I have a special guest. And this week is a very special guest. It is Exxtian Erin, aka Exxtian Erin, aka Erin. Erin, welcome
Hi.
to Truth Wanted.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so today is a special day for you because today marks the 1 year anniversary of your deconversion from Christianity, right?
Yep, my official. Well, it was a couple days ago, but this week in particular, I.
No. It's today. It's
Oh,
today,
today.
Erin.
I'm
We're
so
just saying
sorry.
it's
I'm so
today,
sorry.
right?
I suck at this.
No. Yeah. So about sometime around this time last
It was
year.
definitely this week, sometime last year. Yeah.
Yeah. You declared yourself sort of an atheist,
I
and
did. Yeah.
you've been posting on Twitter since then and doing your thing. Now, I've been following you on Twitter for a little bit now, but a couple months ago, you were recently talking to Seth Andrews about your deconversion story, and I did not know your deconversion story. And I heard your deconversion story, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we got to get you on Truth Wanted because your story is pretty different from a lot of people's deconversion stories." So I wanted to kind of take the first couple minutes of the show here for you to kind of talk about this. But once again, folks, this is a live call-in show. Our lines are totally open right now, so please go ahead and call the number on screen if you're watching live. And yeah, Erin, where did it all start? What was your upbringing like?
My upbringing. So I grew up in a fairly small town in the prairies of Alberta, Saskatchewan, kind of along the border there. I spent half of my time at my mom's church, which was a Pentecostal church, and half the time at my dad's church, which was a Baptist church, because they were not together. Eventually, what I say is that the Pentecostal theology is kind of what stuck. And so that's where I formed my everything around, was the Pentecostal church. And so my family was really involved in the church. My dad was a deacon, which is like part of their administration. They were involved in everything. We were at the church 3-4 days a week. And then when it got to junior high school, it was youth group. And I went to 3 different youth groups in my hometown.
3 different youth groups.
Yes.
That's a lot of youth groups. Wait, hold on. Wait, were you rotating or were you going multiple times in the same week?
I was going multiple times in the same week.
What?
So, small town. My high school friends, like the Christians were friends at school, but we weren't all from the same church because our parents all came from different churches. So the churches knew each other well enough that they actually had their youth nights not on the same night. So we could go to youth group 3 times a week.
No way. Oh my. And see, where I grew up, youth group night, Wednesday night, always a Wednesday night. So if you were going to go to somebody's youth group, you had to choose. That was it. There was no other options.
That's how you really test the line. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I was in youth like Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, church on Sunday, and church on Sunday evenings usually.
Oh my God. That's a lot of church time. Okay. So this is your environment. This is the place you're growing up. You're going to church all the time. What happens next?
What happens next? Probably I would like to include the fact that I also spent a ton of time at camp as well. So when the summer seasons, I would also go to these different church camps. And if you've ever seen the movie Jesus Camp, it was not unlike that. A little less authoritarian, but there was when I look back now, it was so intense. There was such an intense pressure to
I've been to church camps. I worked church camps.
Yeah.
Never been a part of a Pentecostal church camp. I imagine there's probably some big differences there.
There are, yeah. So I every summer I went to the Pentecostal camp and the Baptist camp, and they could not be more different. So the Pentecostal camp was very, very much focused on kind of that spiritual experience that you have, especially long, church services, lots and lots of energy, lots of jumping around, lots of altar calls, just a lot of engagement constantly. And then I would go to the Baptist camp, and it was a lot more like an actual kind of outdoorsy camp with some chapels. And so it was just night and day for me. And because I felt like that Pentecostal theology is what made sense to me, I guess, because I spent more of my time there. I spent most of my time at the Baptist camp trying to save the Baptist kids because I thought they were all going to hell.
But see, so I grew up around a lot of Baptists, and one of the favorite pastimes of Baptists is just talking smack about all the other denominations, especially Pentecostals. So like from the
so many
Baptist point
times
of view,
that I was in a cult from the
like,
Baptist kids, and I thought that was evidence of my faith, and that that was part of the persecution thing, and I was like, they haven't been reborn.
It's a never-ending war. It's a never-ending war that may never end. I don't know, but yeah, it's crazy. So okay, you're going to these camps and stuff. You're living your life, and eventually, you graduate high school. It's time to go to college for you. Where do you choose to go?
Well, first I was going to go to university. I wanted to go into nursing, but I had felt like I hadn't had enough spiritual. I didn't feel grounded in my faith because a little bit. It was just that overwhelming. What's up next? So I actually took a year off between like the year between high school and post-secondary, and I did a year of missionary work. So I joined a small group that was set out of Canada. So I'm in Canada. It was set in the prairies, and you spent a great deal of your time kind of practicing doing street ministry and that kind of thing. And then you go overseas somewhere to go do missionary work. And that was a different experience for me. It really, it was fun, but it was also extremely hard because looking back now, like it was a very high control group. There was so many restrictions on everything we were doing. And I think that was the first time where I felt like I actively disliked my own religion for like a little while. So then after I got out of that, I went to Bible college for a year. Again, trying to do a 2-year program to go into nursing. I lasted 1 year at Bible college, and I actually did drop my program down because by even about halfway through my Bible college semester, I was struggling so badly with my doubts. But from there, I didn't press forward into the doubts. I just moved to a different province and started over.
Oh yeah. See, like I knew kids obviously that went to Christian colleges and stuff like that. I ended up going to a public university, but I always thought like, man, you had to be really dedicated to go to a Christian school. I don't know. I feel like the culture there is just very, very different. I think part of it too for me was I grew up around Baylor, and so I saw what Baylor was like, and I was just like, I'm not interested in that. So yeah, I bet you probably got some weird stories from that too. But like, you had these doubts, you kind of pushed them away. You're kind of doing some other stuff. But somehow you're here today, right now, as an atheist. So what's going on there?
Well, so I moved to a different town, met a guy, ended up getting together with him for a few years. Didn't work out. There's way more to that story, but
sure.
And then I met who's my husband now, and we've been together for 10 years. And so I kind of just floated along in my, I wasn't in the Pentecostal church and I wasn't in the Baptist church. I was in this nice, medium, there's the word, kind of non-denominational. They were friendly, but they weren't crazy, and they had a lot of good views. So we kind of stayed there for about 10 years. And my story really kind of revolves around my desire to kind of seek some mental health care, because I had struggled with anxiety and depression quite a bit in my life. And I had always kind of gone to church first as a method to kind of work on that. And so about 2 years ago, I started seeing a counselor, and we started talking through some methods for, kind of coping with anxieties. I got really into mindfulness and meditation and that sort of thing. And I started following people online who were doing these guided meditations.